Hey guys, welcome back to another Top of the Chops. I'm Joe Garrett from Veevar Guitar. First of all, I want to say thanks so much to everyone who has tuned into these videos so far. I've even had some people saying that it's getting them through the boredom of this isolation, but I won't go too much into that. Let's try and keep our minds off of that. So this week, we've got another number 4 in the charts. There seems to be a bit of a deadlock on number 1, 2 and 3. So yeah, we're doing the number 4 this week, which is Lonely by Joel Corry. And it's a big dance banger, so it's going to be real fun, like the Roses song by St. John that I did a few weeks ago. They're just really fun to get on a loop pedal. It's real upbeat tempo, and yeah, you can just layer it up with so many great guitar parts. So again, we're going to look at it on the Ditto looper and yeah, have some fun with it. So this song was written or co-written by someone that I work with a lot called Rob Harvey. Is a really good friend of mine. We've worked together on songs by Marley Core, who's an artist I've been developing for 3 to 4 years. And we've got a song out actually at the moment called Sorry. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description as well. So Rob co-wrote this with Neve Applebaum, Harley Jane Sudworth, Joel Corry and Lewis Thompson. So some great songwriters on this track and obviously a great producer as well. So we're going to get into it, but first of all, please subscribe, hit the notification button, and then you'll get all of our videos coming up. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is a dance tune. It's based around a few chords, and it's quite straightforward in terms of the key signature and the chords that are in it. There's some quite basic chords in there, but in terms of like the actual groove and getting some guitar parts for it, that's why I do these videos really. I like to think of it as if I'm a session guitarist going into a pop session or a hip hop session or something that isn't necessarily guitar based all the time. I want to be able to come up with some guitar parts that complement the production basically. If there's no guitars in it, if there are guitars in it, we can take those parts and we can embellish them. But I want to give you something that you can use as well if that's something that you want to do. Now, like always, I do it on the Ditto looper by TC Electronics, but you can also do this in a DAW, any recording software. You can just layer up guitar parts essentially, and you might want to do like the drum parts or the percussive parts that I do on the guitar on actual drums and almost like remix it if that's your thing. But the reason I do it is just to have a bunch of guitar parts that I can use over the song. So say I was doing a live lounge or something, I would play these parts with the artist as the guitarist. So in this song, the chord stabs are basically all on piano. So I'm applying these to guitar, and then I'll play the bass line on my guitar as well. And I'm going to show you the vocal melody of this song because it's so catchy. It's a really, really catchy song, and I'm proud to know the guy that co-wrote it. But yeah, that's a really cool melody to learn on the guitar because the phrasing's great. The scale is just, it's using all of the notes that you possibly can in that scale, and yeah, it's just a real good example to do. But first of all, I want to look at the pre-chorus. Now, the verses I think are the same chords as the chorus, so you can kind of strip back the verses and just use the chords essentially without layering it up. But the pre-chorus is slightly different, so I'm going to show a close-up shot now of the pre-chorus, and then I'm going to take you through it. Okay, cool. So you'd notice the rhythm of that. You might have seen my leg moving in time with the beat, and you want to focus on that because this rhythm is quite not hard to catch, but if you're trying to kind of count it or write it, or you know, if you were reading it, it would not be too obvious. But a lot of people get confused and think this rhythm is triplets, but basically it's happening in 16th notes. So if you think of like your 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. It's kind of where the accent happens, where the chord is playing basically. So you got that. da, 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 da. So I think where people get confused with the triplet thing is because there's 3 notes, or sorry, 3 beats, and then the next hit. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you think of it as 4 groups of 3 and then 1, 4, and obviously that adds up to your 16 beats in the bar. So you get that on each chord. And then, sorry, yeah, that's on a B flat major chord. And then it goes to D minor to C. But and then you get one last minute A minor in there before the cycle starts again. So. Okay, and that does that twice before the chorus kicks in. Okay, so in terms of the chorus, what I'm doing on my loop pedal, this is kind of everything I'm going to be doing now, this whole section, the loop part, and then there'll be a bit of improv at the end, but that's just because I always do it. If you want to do a guitar solo and kind of have a jam around it, then there's that ready for you as well, once you've made your backing track on either a bit of recording software or your loop pedal. Okay, so the chords in this song, we've got B flat major, D minor, C, and then that A minor's in the pre, but I don't know if it's anywhere else, but yeah, those chords there. And yeah, the key of the song is quite an interesting one, this actually, because the chords don't automatically scream out what the key is. You know, that first chord being a B flat major, you might think the key is B flat major, but then when you play that scale, you realise it isn't. And then you just kind of have to look around. There's none of the kind of clues of 2 majors next to each other, the 4 and 5, or 2 minors next to each other. So you just kind of got to work around. The way I normally do it is I'll take my minor pentatonic, put the backing track on, or sorry, put the song on, and just move that minor pentatonic round until it fits. It's literally like a jigsaw piece, and it's okay, cool, I'm in. But sometimes obviously it's not as simple as that, but a lot of the times it is, so it's worth just kind of taking that round and moving it. And then depending on what the chord structure is, you'll decide, it sounds good as a pentatonic, or it sounds good as a blues, or actually no, it's better just using my natural minor or major scale for some more melody in those chords, depending on what chords are being used. So yeah, this key is D minor. Obviously you've got our B flat major as the first chord, which you can kind of think of that as B flat Lydian, but I'm not really thinking about that when I'm playing over this song, because that chord changes so quickly to the other chords. You know, the D comes in. But yeah, it's interesting, the D is almost like a passing chord in this. We've got... And it's not held onto that D very long. It's you know, that is the key essentially, the D minor. But yeah, it almost just goes straight from that to the C really quickly. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of think of this as modal, seeing as the B is starting. Sorry, the B flat is starting there. But yeah, like I say, anything mode-wise, if you've seen some of my other videos before, I always think of them as my home key. So in this case, D minor. And you know, if it's on the B flat for a while, then maybe I'll resolve to the B flat note a bit more in that D minor scale. Okay, but yeah, they're the chords. But the verse chords, I tend to do it's quite a pop thing to do nowadays with a guitar part, is just take the root and the third. You'll hear it a lot if guitars are ever in pop songs at the moment. And yeah, it's that. Okay, so the chords do change slightly in here compared to the pre-chorus. We're on that B flat for a while, and that was the rhythm that I play. And the good thing about keeping that spaced out is I can put my kind of snare drum hits in there as well. And then any that I miss, I do on a loop anyway, and you'll hear that. So yeah, the B flat. See what I mean about the D minor only being really quick and then going to that C. loop for those chords. And that kind of sets the scene, so the rest of it can pile on top of that. So yeah, that B flat major, we've got 6th fret on the E string, the low E, and then 7th fret on the G string, and I'm finger picking that with my thumb and my index finger. D minor, I'm going 5th fret on the A string, 6th fret on the B string, and then the C is 3rd fret on the A string, and 5th fret on the B string. And it's basically going between those 3 chords the whole time. Okay, so that's my first thing that I put down on the loop. So there will be some percussive elements in the way I play it. So I'm kind of, after I play that first one, I'm using my index finger and putting my palm down on the low string, and then relaxing my left hand, so off of the chord, because if I don't, then I get notes ringing out, but I want it to, my middle finger's kind of laying across all the strings there to get that kind of muted note there. So, and then that one, because it's almost 3 notes in between. So it's like the chord and then index finger just on the 7th fret on the G string there, and then a slap. And as I do the slap, it's like a kind of bass player's slapping technique. I'll slap down and put my palm on the strings as well, so that it doesn't ring out anything. It's just almost like a kick drum essentially. So it's, yeah. And obviously when I change to that chord, that is where that slap would normally come on the D minor, so I leave it out there, and you know, I'll pile that on top of the loop anyway. So yeah, once that progression is down, I do this. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously at speed. So yeah, I'm doing that thumb, index finger, just muted on, so I'm muting with the left hand and my palm is down, and I'm doing that on the D and G string. And then I'm doing with my index finger, and obviously muting again, similar sort of slap mute technique for the snare again. And that just cycles as a loop. And then we have the bass line. So the bass line is pretty much what it is for the chorus of the song. You know, those chords aren't actually going round, but I've put it on there just to make the loop interesting and sound kind of harmonic. Obviously there's lots of things going on in the production, whereas we've just got a guitar, so we want a bit more than just that bass line. But yeah, it's accenting the root notes, but there's also some interesting passing notes in there. So it goes 6th fret on the E string, the B flat. Oh no, it goes down to the A, yeah, so it's, so it goes 6, 6, 5, 6, and then 6, D, and then C, and then this goes C, B flat, C, and then it's C, D, D, and there's your loop. So. Okay, and yeah, that's basically it for the loop, and then I put my chorus hook on top. Okay, so this is where it's quite fun to play. A lot of the last songs that I've done, you can go back and check those out, by the way, if you're into any of those songs, or even if you just want to learn something that's been in the charts recently. Actually, I say recently, they're still kind of holding those places now. I think, what was the first one? Roses, I think, which is St. John, is still #1, which is cool. 2 is Blinding Lights, and then 3 is The Box, which I did last week. So yeah, they're kind of holding strong up there, and then this has climbed up to #4. So hopefully this goes even higher now. And I thought that about the Roses song by St. John, because I've worked with St. John before, and I wanted that to rise up to #1, and he's smashed it, got his first #1. So hopefully for my good friend Rob, this climbs and climbs and gets to #1 as well. We're gonna hope for that. So yeah, this melody is really, really fun to play. We go up to the first shape of the D natural minor, up from the 10th fret. And I do like a little fade in with it, almost like a production technique. So hit the 13th fret on the B string and just use my fader to go up. Pot's a bit crackly, I need to get that sorted. Okay, and that's the first note I'm going to hit as well. I'm going to slide into it. And I'm literally just climbing down the scale there. So 13, 11, 10 on the B string, and then 12 on the G string. And I'll hit that again, but with a bit of vibrato, and then pull off to the 10. And then we're going to climb up. It's 10 on the G string, 12 on the G string, 10, and then 11 on the B string. Then I'm going to slide with my third finger, 12th fret on the G string up to the 14. And then I'm going to hammer on from 10 to 12 on the D string. Is it? Yeah, it is. But I do a real quick hammer on there, like a grace note. And then go back up to the G string, 12th fret, 10th fret. And another grace note from the 10 to 12 on the D string. And then end on the 10. And then building up into the repeat, I go, do 4 kind of building in dynamics, palm muted 10s. And then it starts again. And then what I love about choruses that repeat is there's just one different note change, and that's where this is now. He bends up 13 to 15 on the B string. And that's release it, 12th fret on the G string to 10 on the G string. Same again, we're going 10, 12, 10, 11 on the G string and B string. And then we're going to slide up again from 12 to 14 on the G string. And then drop straight down to 10 on the D string. And then that starts our next phrase as well. We do 2 more hits on the 10. So it's with middle finger, B string, 11th fret to 13, slide, back down to the 11, then the 10, and then you're going to do G string, 12 to 14, back to 12, hold it, and then pull off to 10, and then drop down to 12 on the D string, and that's your whole phrase. So. And that's the whole lead lick there, really fun to play. And yeah, if you play that on top of the loop, it's great, it's really, really fun. That's why I like doing these dance songs, because the melodies are so good, and then the chords and the rhythms and the grooves are really fun to play on top as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you that all on the loop as I do it, basically as a close-up shot, so that you can kind of copy that or take some parts and do your own thing with it. And then what I'm going to do is just show some improv on top, okay? Okay, so hopefully that helped out, seeing it all up close. The last thing we're going to do is some improv. Okay, so I'm literally moving from shape 1 on the D minor scale from 10th fret, and then to the 5th fret on the A string, so the 4th shape in D natural minor. I do a lot of legato stuff around shape 5. Yeah, so. And then between from shape 4. And then I think I go even up to shape 2 here, yeah. Okay, so it's a range of shapes basically. But yeah, as long as you know those shapes, they should be really fun to play along to. And because it's very kind of major and minor chordish all the way through this song, I would stick to my full D natural minor scale. Don't kind of just use your pentatonic. Try and add those extra notes in as well, because it's really melodic. They do it in the hook of the chorus. So that's my general rule. If they're doing it with other instruments, in terms of using all of your notes, then do it with yours as well, because you're just going to miss out on some notes that are really, really important. So I'll show you how I do it, and then you can have a go on your own as well. And yeah, that should be everything. Thanks so much for watching again. Please subscribe, like the video, share it, and we'll see you again next week.